in the last 24 hours, I have probably had the most intense interfaith dialogue of my life. At its depths, I felt existentially alone. I felt isolated from other companions of faith. I felt like assumptions were being made, universalist assumptions being applied to all faiths, ignoring the unique Jewish contribution that we can provide to interfaith dialogue. It was a very challenging time. But it resolved. It resolved in coming together, working through the pain, working through the difficulty, working through that dialogue to understand where each other was coming from, and resolved in a very positive way that reminds me of the essential nature of interfaith dialogue. If anything, through the pain of this conversation and its resolution, it's reminded me why the Interfaith Leadership Alliance of Santa Fe needs to continue and why I need to still be part of it. But the conversation has led to tonight's sermon, a sermon about balancing universal values with particularist values, and why Judaism seeks both. It's a challenging sermon, and I encourage you to come and hear. Tomorrow morning, during Torah study, we'll be looking at the very difficult passage where Abraham wrestles with God, where Abraham argues with God, not wrestles like Israel, but argues with God about Sodom and Gomorrah. And we look at Abraham's question of whether or not God will destroy or remove the righteous along with the wicked. And so we look at what seems to be a critique of collective punishment. Again, a very challenging discussion. That discussion is going to be only on Zoom. I'm not leading tomorrow morning's Shabbat service. Cantor Liana is, so I'll be leading that discussion from here at home. And then on Sunday, in a change to the schedule, the Introduction to Reform Judaism course will be looking at the spiritual and physical importance of Israel throughout the ages. And this, I believe, is actually really important because a lot of people aren't aware. A lot of people tend to disconnect Judaism from Israel, even though, as we come together in prayer, we traditionally face towards Israel, even though in our liturgy there are frequent references to Israel and to the return to Israel from exile. All in all, some very challenging things to look at, but I believe very important things to look at. So I invite you to join us this evening for our Kabbalat Shabbat service, which includes a challenging sermon on universal and particularist values. I invite you to join us tomorrow morning for our Torah study, where we look at collective punishment in Judaism. I invite you to join Cantor Liana for a respite from all of that in the Shabbat Shacharit service. And then Sunday, I invite you to join us to look at the importance of Israel in Judaism throughout the ages. I believe that these are important, challenging topics that we can handle as a community, and I really hope that you'll be able to join us for this important weekend.